Hi friends, it is Tuesday, February 21st, and we just finished our Board of Supervisors meeting. We started at about 9:05 and ended at 12:15. It was a long meeting, but mostly because we had about an hour and a half of community members that came to speak to call to the audience. And so the substance of our meeting was, we had some pretty good items, but our meeting actually went fairly quickly. I want to say thank you to Roxana Marquez. She is a Deputy Director for Analytics, Data and Governance here in Pima County for reading our land acknowledgement. And I want to say thank you to Janet Marcotte and Julia Strange. She's the Vice President for Community Benefit for Tucson Medical Center. Thank you both for coming and speaking in favor of Dr. Cullen. We had a lot of people that were very anti Dr. Cullen, mostly because of her role during the pandemic. I think something is lost in the translation when we say as the county that we take our lead from the state. So if you look at the timeline of what Pima County did, we were very aligned with the state. And respectfully, those were votes taken by the Pima County Board of Supervisors. And so if you have anyone that you'd like to blame, it would be the supervisors who gave the direction. There was a few people there talking about schools. Again, after the state, we took direction from them, but we also, individual schools also have a local governing body that made decisions for the schools. So I just want to make sure that there was a lot of misinformation out there, and I, for one, am incredibly supportive of Dr. Cullen and the work that she's done here in Pima County and keeping our community safer. And I also wanted to thank Katja Peterson and Roger Pfeiffer, my friend from TUSD, both of you who came to speak in favor of Mission Garden. It was really nice to see some smiley faces discussing items that are actually on our agenda that we're going to be voting on. We had a proclamation for the American Red Cross. I want to thank Mariko for coming down and accepting the proclamation. I think it was incredibly nice of you to be here, and it was a really crowded room, so I appreciate that. Mariko Tippett, he's the chair, the board of directors for American Red Cross, and they really need donations. So it is American Red Cross month, the month of March, and so we'll be going out and encouraging people to donate, and I will probably be donating as well. Acceptance of a $500,000 grant. This is congressional directed spending. That was the item that we had a few people speak to. It's the 2022 Historic Preservation Fund. So it's 2 years, $250,000 per year that will provide Mission Garden and the Friends of Tucson's birthplace the opportunity to get some real much needed infrastructure to Mission Garden. And if you haven't gone to visit, we really recommend you do. It's just an amazing place to be, and just such beautiful, it's like a living archive of the plants and landscape of Tucson and Tucson. So we also voted, that was a 5-0 vote. We voted 4-1. Supervisor Christie voted no to appoint a Blue Ribbon Commission and the members of the Blue Ribbon Commission to look at our Pima County Jail and really look at the structure of the jail. One of the concerns that I continue to voice is we have one side of the building that's 40 years old and another side of the jail that's 16 years old. And why is a building that is 16 years old in such the shape is, its condition is such that our deputies, our sheriff, our corrections officers are requesting that a new jail completely. I'm very concerned about that because there should be a longer guarantee on the work that was done. Is it deferred maintenance? Is it, the materials didn't meet a certain quality standard? All of those are things that I think we need to look at before we start to explore a new jail. An IGA with the city of Tucson. This is the approval of a position that Mari Vasquez has. It's an intra-agency resource coordinator. We hear repeatedly, what is the county doing? What is the city doing to address homelessness? this position helps to coordinate both of us so we can be as responsive as possible. We're going to be getting updates from Ms. Vasquez and the team. Both they're going to be updating the city and the county at the same times at our meetings, because I think it's important for us to hear the exact information the city is hearing, because they have regular updates, and there's a lot of misinformation about the fact that the city isn't doing what they need to be doing. Some of that is being perpetrated by one of my colleagues who publicly says the city doesn't do their job, and respectfully, that is not the case. So that item passed 3-2 with Supervisors Bronson and Christie voting no. We also had a vote on the Stiletto Consulting, who was working on the economic development strategic plan for Pima County. That item passed 4-1. There was an additional $10,000 added to the contract in order to be more inclusive of the voices of small and medium-sized businesses, which I think is really important. And I was surprised that item didn't pass unanimously. And then we had an item that was put on by Supervisor Christie to discuss the contract of Dr. Cullen. And that was one of the reasons why we had so many people come to call to the audience. I think there was this misperception that we were going to be voting as to whether to retain Dr. Cullen as our health director or not. And that's absolutely not the case. I think I personally was already mourning Dr. Cullen's loss, because I just assumed that everyone could see how qualified she was to run our state health department. What she had to endure is an incredibly partisan process that once it started going and the predominant theme was an anti-vax, anti-mask sort of sentiment, that there was that she was not going to come out of that process with a vote to move forward. And because I think that was such a trying process, she withdrew from that process. And I don't know all of the details, but I could completely understand that. Pima County is her home. I know that when I talked to her, she said, she was still hoping to do much of her work at the state level here in Pima County. And so I'm glad that she has decided to stay. She did not tender her resignation. There was no paperwork processed, were finalized in our HR department. There has not been an interruption in her employment. Even when she was down in Phoenix testifying, she was using vacation hours. Why would she have to use vacation hours if she wasn't an employee? So I think a lot of this was a lot of theater to disparage the role that Pima County took during the pandemic. And I'm glad that we're moving forward. There was also an update on the Interstate I-10 hazardous spill material that happened on February 14th. And I think it was really clear that the Arizona Department of Transportation and DPS are the agencies that were really in charge, that there is a structure in place to address those kinds of hazardous spills. And according to our Pima County leadership, everything was done the way it should be, and the work of our firefighters and all of that was done the way it should be. The one thing that I think we all would like is sort of an update a little more timely, but our county administrator Lesher let us all know that the graphics that the Pima County Health Department put out about spills and what to look for and some of the symptoms if you've been exposed, that was really critically important, and Maricopa and the state borrowed our graphics and shared them with the community. So I thought that was good information to have. Additionally, I want to thank again and say thank you and congratulations on your retirement to Lisa Josker, our Pima County Facilities Director. I think she's done an amazing job. I had the opportunity to work with her in my previous life as the director of Pima County Teen Court when we were trying to find a home for our nonprofit program. And she was so incredibly helpful and so detail oriented. And if you look at the condition of our Pima County facilities, it is because of her leadership and her attention to detail that everyone on that team is an amazing team she's built. And so I just want to say thank you, and we're going to miss you. I also want to highlight all of the talented youth in District 5 who submitted we had 317 submissions from youth artists for our Why Do You Love D5? Why do you love your home and where you live? We almost doubled the number from our inaugural year last year of 123 submissions. So thank you. We're looking forward to celebrating all of your work, and we'll keep you posted on that. We do have a summer youth and family resource fair coming up, and stay tuned because the graphics will be right after this filming. We're going to be that'll be on March 11th from 10 to 1 at 320 North Commerce Park Loop. It's the Youth Employment One Stop. We're going to be talking about summer youth job enrollment, those opportunities, family resources, vaccine, Ready, Set, Rec. There's food, music, over 40 resource vendors, lots of giveaways, preschool scholarships, educational resources, and more. So if you have a chance, come down, say hi to us, and check out all of the resources. Our next board meeting is going to be on Tuesday, March 7th. So we look forward to your attention there. And thank you for keeping up with Pima County politics. Stay safe, my friends.